Hi, welcome to my video on find the value of theta given the reference angle in a quadrant. The reference angle is the most important angle in working out the trig functions. Find the value of theta. Theta is in standard position and theta is 0 is less than or equal to theta is less than 360. So what we mean by in standard position on the circle, if you draw a circle, then theta starts from the point, again the radius up the circle is 1, so this point is 1 comma 0. So theta starts, the initial arm is right here, so it starts to rotate up the circle like this. So when it stops, that's the terminal arm right there. This is theta, and this is your reference angle from here to here. So in any quadrant, the reference angle is the angle between the terminal arm and the x-axis. Here we go. Quadrant 1. Quadrant 1 is right here. And we draw the terminal arm in quadrant 1. And again, we could have put a circle here if we wish. And the theta is this rotation right here. And the reference angle is right here. So that means in the first quadrant, which is this quadrant right here, theta is equal to the reference angle. Now, if a rotation ends up in quadrant 2, so we have a circle. So when we start from the initial point of 1, 0, and we rotate around until we stop in the second quadrant, which is right there. So that's theta rotation. So there's the terminal arm extended out. And so the reference angle is this angle right here between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So the value of theta in the second quadrant, theta is 180 minus the reference angle. We'll illustrate that in more diagrams as we go down below. So there's the reference angle. 180 degrees is right to here. So the theta, the rotation, is 180 minus the reference angle. And we have I forgot to mention, this is quadrant 1. This is quadrant 2. So that's quadrant 1, quadrant 2. This is quadrant 3. So theta starts from the standard position, rotates around, comes around 90, 180, and it stops in here. So this is the rotation of theta. So the terminal arm is extended out. So the reference angle is right here. It's the angle between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So theta here is 180 plus the reference angle. I'm going to again illustrate all this as we do more examples. And we also have the terminal arm is in quadrant 4. So we start here, rotate 90, 180, 270, and we're in here. So we're more than 270. So this is the rotation of theta. Terminal arm is extended out. So the reference angle is between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So theta, the rotation, is 360 minus the reference angle. So after you find the reference angle, which we will later in another video, we will work out the values of theta. Now let's do some examples. Find the value of theta in each quadrant if the reference angle is 30. Quadrant 1, here's a circle, and we have a reference angle in quadrant 1 of, so here's the terminal arm, here's the reference angle right here. So what is theta? Theta is this rotation here. So theta is equal to the reference angle in quadrant 1, which is 30. Now what about we have quadrant 2? So again, draw a circle and we rotate. We have in quadrant 2, here's quadrant 2, terminal arm, the angle is in quadrant 2, the reference angle is 30. is the reference angles between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So this is the rotation for theta right here. So in quadrant 2, theta is 180 minus the reference. So theta rotation is 180 minus the reference, which is 30. So that equals to 150 degrees. It makes sense. If this angle is 30, then this is 180. So therefore the rotation as far as here is 150. And we have a reference angle in the third quadrant. So let's do the rotation. And the reference angle, this is 30 in the third quadrant. There's the third quadrant angle. Here's the rotation for theta all the way around till we get to that terminal arm. So if the reference angle is 30, the reference angle is between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So theta is 180, add on the reference. So it's 180 degrees, add on 30 degrees, and that's 210 degrees. And if we got a fourth quadrant angle, if the reference angle is in the fourth quadrant, which is here, theta is the rotation all the way around. Keep going till we get to the fourth quadrant, right there. So there's theta. Theta, I mentioned that theta over here is this rotation here. Get back to here, and if the reference angle is in the fourth quadrant with 30 degrees, then theta is 360 degrees, subtract 30 degrees. So that's 330 degree rotation. From here to here is 330, plus 30 is 360. So that's a reference angle of 30 being illustrated. And if you want to pause the video and work these out, be my guest. And find the value of theta from 0 to 360 when the reference angle is 60. So let's draw the circles. There's the circles. I could have put the circles in prior to this. And just to mention it, remember the radius of the circle is 1. So these points right here are 1, 0. This point is 1, 0. This point is 1, 0. That indicates that the radius from here to here, radius is 1 in all these circles. So we got a first quadrant angle. Reference angle in the first quadrant is 60 degrees. So theta is, there's theta. So theta is equal to the reference angle. So it's equal to 60. We got a second quadrant angle, and the reference angle is right here, 60 degrees between the terminal arm and the x-axis. There's the reference angle. So the rotation is here. So theta is 180 minus the 60. So theta is 120 degrees. 120 is the rotation of theta, plus 60 makes the 180. And we got a third quadrant angle with a reference angle of 60. Reference angle between terminal arm and the x-axis. So there's the rotation for theta all the way around here. So that's theta. So in the third quadrant, theta is 180, add on the reference angle. So it's 180, add on the 60. So that angle is rotating 240 degrees. And right here, we're rotating all the way around to the fourth quadrant. So the terminal arm stops in the fourth quadrant right here. The reference angle is 60. So this rotation for theta is 360 minus the 60. So that makes it 300. And that makes sense. So this is 300 degrees, 270 and 30 more. So this is 300 degrees plus 60 is 360. And again, pause the video and work these out. We got a reference angle of 45 in the first quadrant. And just quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, quadrant 4, just to make sure. And we got a reference angle of first quadrant. Reference angle is 45. Theta is this rotation. So theta is equal to the reference angle in the first quadrant, which is 45 degrees. Second quadrant, We rotate around. Terminal arm stops in the second quadrant. Reference angle is 45. The rotation for theta is all the way here. So there's theta, and theta is 180 minus the reference, which is 45. So theta is 135 degrees. So when you rotate here, it's 100. Notice that this is 45. This angle is 45 here also, making up a 90. And this is a 90. So 90 plus 45 is 135. Just checking. And we have a third quadrant angle. There it is. Reference angles between the terminal arm and the x-axis. Theta is the rotation from the point. The point is 1, 0. So this is theta. So here, theta is 180, which is this, plus the 45. And that makes 225 degrees. And we have a terminal arm in the fourth quadrant, which is here. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4 are the quadrants. This is the fourth quadrant. Reference angle is 45 between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So theta is this rotation all the way around to here. And so that's theta, and what's the value? Theta is the whole rotation, which is 360, and come back, subtract the reference angle. So it's 360 minus 45 is 315. So this value for theta is 315 degrees. Not all the time the angles are going to be the 30, 60, or the 45. Let's try one which is 20. What about if we have a reference angle of 20 in quadrant 1? So we have a rotation. So the reference angle is in quadrant 1, which is 20 degrees. So theta is this rotation. So theta is equal to the reference angle, which is equal to 20 degrees. There's theta rotation. And we have a second quadrant angle. So the terminal arm is in the second quadrant right there. And so the reference angle is between the terminal arm and the x-axis. So theta is the rotation from the point. Again, this point is 1, 0. So theta is 180 minus the reference. So theta is 160 degrees. That's 160 plus 20. So if we take the 180 and take away 20, you get the value of theta. And we have a third quadrant. Terminal arm. Reference angle in the third quadrant is 20. So theta is all the way around from the point 0, 0. There's the point 10. And so theta is this rotation from here right to here. So theta in the third quadrant, this is the third quadrant. Theta is 180 plus the reference. And 180 plus 20 is 200. And we're going to draw the terminal arm in the fourth quadrant. So the fourth quadrant angle. Reference angle is 20. Theta is the rotation all the way around, right to there. So that's theta. And so theta in the fourth quadrant is 360. Subtract the reference angle of 20. So it's 340 degrees. So that's how we, when we're solving trig equations, we will do exactly what I'm doing here. So I just practice that before I get into the main questions. Finding the value of theta, knowing what the reference angle is. And if you like my video, click on the like button, subscribe button. If you're not a subscriber, visit my math website, www.mathfullyexplained.com, to find more information about me, my videos, and the content. The content on my YouTube channel called Math Fully Explained. Thank you for viewing my video. Bye-bye.